What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a super exciting Liverpool transfer news video because we have even more information about the Ibrahima Konate to Liverpool transfer deal. So strap yourselves in, leave a like if you enjoy these transfer updates, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on the bell notification. Konate has a cheaper than expected release clause which was revealed by Christian Falk, the journalist who broke that we are signing Thiago last summer. So Christian Falk has revealed that Ibrahima Konate is actually cheaper than expected because his release clause was thought to be 40 million euros, but he said that his release clause is between 34 and 36 million euros, which is 28 to 30 million pounds. That is an absolute bargain for the 21-year-old French international centre-back who is 6'4", is absolute powerhouse in the air. He would be the perfect partner for Virgil van Dijk next season. Considering that Ozan Kabak's option to buy fee is 18 million pounds, Liverpool could quite possibly spend less than 50 million pounds on two quality centre-backs whose ceiling, whose potential is world class, both of whom could play for Liverpool for the next decade. So Liverpool could sort their centre-back issues for the next decade with just 50 million, and that would absolutely represent value for money, a no-brainer for Liverpool. Operating under a model that prioritizes long-term value, often over like ready-made stars, it should be an absolute no-brainer as far as the Liverpool recruitment team is concerned. And Konate supposedly has a higher ceiling than his current defensive partner, RB Leipzig's Dayot Upamecano, who is going to Bayern Munich. And yes, right now Upamecano is probably the better defender, but many people are saying in the football world, and especially Bundesliga experts, that Konate could actually become an even better player in the future than Upamecano could become. And there is of course the risk of Konate's injury struggles to consider. However, Joel Matip standing as the perfect reminder that bundles of talent never makes up for frequent stays on the sidelines. But if those at the club, the experts at Liverpool, are confident that it won't affect Konate in the long run, we would be absolute fools not to take up this transfer, because a 34 million release clause, pounds I'm talking about, that also represented value for money. But a 28 million release clause, if Christian Falk's information is correct, and I believe him that it's correct, that would be an absolute bargain in my opinion. And Christian Falk, who is a journalist for the Bild newspaper, also said that Liverpool are reportedly going over the data for Ibrahima Konate once more in light of the defender's struggles with injury. And he said that the move is very close to completion, meaning that Liverpool could very well have their first signing of the summer wrapped up in the next few weeks. This is what Christian Falk said. Konate doesn't have to seem to be that expensive after all. It's quiet. So Liverpool are really in the final stages of the transfer now. I heard that they are going through with it, and they are just going through all the data, as he has had a few injuries. So Liverpool are going through the data because they want to be absolutely certain that they make the right move in the transfer window. And of course, we don't want to sign another player who will be injury prone for the next few years. So we are just making sure, we are making it certain that Konate is not injury prone. I think he had a few injuries, but at just 21 years old, he's still so young. It's very, very difficult, almost impossible to judge how his whole career will turn out to be. So I think we are just looking at the injuries and specific injuries and how they could affect Konate going forward. So Liverpool are doing their research, doing their due diligence right now, and after we have done it, I think we will go through with the transfer. But don't expect an announcement in 1 or 2 weeks, so let's give it time, and probably at the end of April, at the beginning of May, we could have an official announcement of Konate being welcomed at Liverpool. And Kenny Dalglish reminded Liverpool fans never to give up hope that we can progress in the Champions League. He said, "We are 3-1 down in the quarterfinals and playing again on Wednesday against Real Madrid. The final is being played at the Ataturk Stadium where we won against AC Milan in 2005, so maybe romance is not yet dead and the bad season is going to have a happy ending." I think what will make it harder than the Barcelona game is that Real Madrid are a better team right now than the 2019 Barcelona team, and you thought at the time when Barcelona missed the sitter being 3-0 up at the Nou Camp with the last kick of the game, that's given us a chance now. Real Madrid have got a better team defensively, even though they had to make changes in the first leg. Sergio Ramos didn't play, they had to bring a couple of guys in, but they are better than Barcelona were. And when the Kenny Dalglish was asked about Liverpool's recent struggles in the Premier League, there are no excuses, he answered, but there are some reasons. For me, one of the biggest factors was losing 4 players in the same position, because then that was the back 4 out of commission or certainly weaker than they were. When you look at Van Dijk, you are looking at a colossus and you are thinking, how do I get past him? But without him there is no fear factor of Liverpool's defense. John Barnes also weighed in on Sadio Mane, and he has been very inconsistent lately, and he said, "I don't know what his future holds at Liverpool, because I'm not privy to discussions and how they feel about a certain player, but I do think that it's fair to say that Mane has been inconsistent. I know he is a good player, but things haven't really worked out this season. It's important to say that this happens a lot for lots of different players. You can look at Xherdan Shaqiri, you can look at Divock Origi, you can look at a lot of players who have been in the same situation. This is just the nature of modern football, whereby players may cost a lot of money and have big reputations, but yet things don't work out. So yes, it hasn't worked out for him, and it will be interesting to see what Liverpool decides to do with Sadio Mane. And also Jurgen Klopp has commented on Sadio Mane's form. He said, "We all know how good Sadio Mane is, what a player he is, what he did for us so far, but obviously the numbers, scoring-wise, are not great at the moment. He knows that, and the player with the mindset of Sadio wants to do extremely well. That is the situation he is in, and each striker in the world knows these kind of situations. I'm not concerned, but I see it as well, it's clear, and we work on it in the training ground." The schedule of the last 3 years was, for a lot of players in world football, a tough one. For him as well, but I don't think that is the reason. There is no real physical problem for Sadio. We all need breaks from time to time, but it is not a general problem. It is just the situation. If you don't score for a while, then strikers start thinking and maybe overthinking it. The moment you start thinking exactly the right things again, then it will be fine again. We have to make sure that this time is not too far away. And Jurgen Klopp thought we only lost 4 games in a row at home, but when he was reminded that we lost 6, this was his reaction in the press conference. "We have a losing streak of 6 in a row. Wow, that's long. We have to change that. It is not about how I can change that in training. We have to bring ourselves in the right mindset." We decided, although it didn't look like it in the Real Madrid game, that we chase everybody in this league. We just want to squeeze out of this season whatever we can get. For a long time, nobody could really explain why we were so strong at home result-wise, and now this is not easy to explain either. The main reason is that we miss our supporters, but we have played very good games without supporters at home, and that's what we have to do now. I think Liverpool are the team relying on the crowd's energy, the crowd's passion, enthusiasm more than anybody else in the Premier League certainly, and maybe even in world football. But that's a bold statement to make, so I'm not sure about that. But in the Premier League, for sure, Liverpool miss the fans the most, because Jurgen Klopp and his whole charisma is about passion, about enthusiasm, and he thrives on the Liverpool fans' passion in the stadium. This whole Liverpool team for the past 3 years have absolutely thrived on the passion and the enthusiasm, the support of the Liverpool fans. For that to be taken away, Liverpool's performances probably suffered a big drop off from that, maybe 20-30%, and in the Premier League the margins are so small that even that, like 10-15-20% drop off, is enough for other teams to catch up with Liverpool. And of course there are injuries, you know, that those are well documented, and other factors as well. And also Jurgen Klopp revealed that he discussed with Naby Keita his substitution, and he accepted it. He said Naby showed it, his frustration, but not sure if he did it very often to the full extent. But he played great games for us, important games. He scored important goals before, that's all the truth. You are asking the question probably because of the early substitution in the last game. That was just a decision I made in that moment. We had to sort the game for us, and it was difficult to do that without making a change. We spoke yesterday, everything is okay. I explained the decision and he accepted it. So now we carry on. And I think everybody wants more from Naby Keita, but he needs to get a regular run in the team. We should integrate him maybe in the smaller games. So not against Aston Villa because they are too strong of an opponent, but maybe against teams like Crystal Palace or Burnley or other teams where we play a low block. We should integrate Naby Keita into the team, and we should play him more often. And Glenn Johnson, the former Liverpool right back, has actually said something very interesting about Trent Alexander-Arnold, that he set the bar too high for himself in the past 2 years. I'm not sure if I agree with him, but let's listen actually to what he had to say. For me, it's only confidence. He is a fantastic player, Trent, and people forget how young he is. The problem for Trent is he has set the bar so high in recent seasons that people expect it now all the time. He will bounce back, but if you make half a mistake at this level, you are going to get punished. And Glenn Johnson also said, for me, Trent definitely makes the England team. Whether he would be the number one right now, I'm not so sure. If you don't take him to the Euros, you miss out on massive amount of potential. If you get him smiling and enjoying his football, then he is the best. If you leave him out, you are going to destroy his confidence. If we can get back 90% of the Trent we know, then he will be starting for England. Sometimes at England we have been limited for options, but now to have 4 or 5 really class right backs, it's good to watch them battle it out, and to have that competition is healthy. Winning the race for me at the moment is Trent and Reece James, and I fully agree. I think both Trent and Reece James are the best 2 right backs. Kieran Trippier is nowhere near the level of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Southgate is again choosing his favorites, and that's one of the reasons why England will fail at the Euros. And Jurgen Klopp said that we must go for everything that we can this season. We must go for the Premier League top 4, we must go for the Champions League. Of course we want to finish as high as we possibly can in the Premier League, but he also knows that where we finish is not entirely in our hands anymore. The only thing we can do is focus on ourselves and how we play, and make sure that we give our best between now and the end of the season. So the message is, let's go for it. We have a tough program ahead of us, but we understand that the only way to achieve what we want to do in the rest of the season is by winning football games, and that's what we will be aiming to do. We have had 2 mixed results since we returned to the pitch after the international break. First of all, we had a really good victory at Arsenal last weekend. We were defensively solid, we gave ourselves a good basis to play our football. I think that performance showed everybody that we will keep on fighting until our last game. I think that was important, because we can talk about it all we like. We have to go and show that we mean it out on the pitch. Unfortunately, we did not play so well in midweek against Real Madrid. Of course, it was a disappointing feeling afterwards, and we know that we will need to be much better when we play the return match here at Anfield next Wednesday. But for now, our only focus is Aston Villa. Every game in the Premier League is demanding, and there is no doubt that we will need to be at our very best this afternoon if we are to come away with the result that we want. And that's exactly the rallying cry that I wanted to hear from Jurgen Klopp. And Jurgen Klopp was asked by a journalist, will he show the video of Liverpool losing 7-2 to Aston Villa before the match to his players? And he said definitely not. We watched these goals again after the game. We spoke about why the thing happened that night, since then everything changed, everything. So it makes no sense to go back and talk about these things. It's the normal football things, so it doesn't help to watch the goals again. If it would help, I would be the first one who shows them, but that wouldn't help. So we have to think about different things. Sometimes you have to show bad things to make the boys or people in general remember some things. I don't think I did that very often in my life, but it might be right sometimes. But I'm 100% sure this time it's not right, and I hope nobody would do it to you. If you have your worst performance for a long time, and 6 months later somebody comes around the corner in a similar situation and says, by the way, don't do that again, I hope nobody does that to you. and Jurgen Klopp has a point, and especially like we had Van Dijk and Gomez in that game, and Adrian in goal. Almost the whole defense is changed now, so there is no point showing that to the players. And Jurgen Klopp also said that besides the reasons, the obvious reasons for Liverpool's home form, one of the reasons is that we just didn't play well enough. Not in all of them. There were some home games where we lost, where I thought in other times, even without a crowd, we should or could have won this game for sure, but we didn't. That's the truth. And now we have a losing streak of 6 home games in a row, and we have to bring ourselves into the right mindset. So we played some very good games without supporters, and that's what we have to do again now. So let's go for it. Let's win against Aston Villa once again, and I'm really excited actually to watch the game today, and also to bring you guys a post-match analysis of that game as well. And the Premier League is so close. West Ham, who are sitting in 4th place, are just 3 points ahead of Liverpool. But Everton could go ahead of Liverpool if they win their next game. So it's incredibly close. And also Aston Villa, with a game in hand, are 5 points behind us. So if they beat us, they could actually overtake us as well. So even like 4th and even 9th place are just a few points are separated between them. So it's incredibly close. Even 4 or 5 teams could still make the top 4. And of course, Jurgen Klopp said that Aston Villa are a serious rival for European football. They are really good. They made some good signings. Ollie Watkins, Ross Barkley helped, and Matty Cash. They are really good side, and good sides are immediately in contention for European places. It felt like everyone scored a hat-trick when we lost 7-2 to Aston Villa. It gave him a proper confidence boost. He is talking about Ollie Watkins. Watkins is a really talented striker. It was a really good signing. He is strong, he can jump high, he's very fast, he has a good package. And we have to change the home results for Liverpool, so let's go for it. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this transfer news video. I had a lot of fun making it. See you later, have a nice day, goodbye.